It's fork shortening day. We got 97 CR250 forks going down 6 inches. Piece of 1/2 inch ID aluminum tube getting cut down, cleaned up as a spacer. If you like this kind of content, builds, ride videos, and stuff like that, off-road content, you might want to think about hitting the subscribe button. At the least, go ahead, hit the like button or throw a comment in there. Watch time's also important, so we try and keep it interesting. Make sure you try and watch that video as far as you can, if not all the way through. This is an instructional video, so you might want to see everything so you don't miss out on anything. No further ado, rest of the video. Two forks, 2 shorteners. Get on there, pop the inner cartridge out. As you can see, I didn't let the air pressure out. The air pressure actually popped the inner cartridge out. Grab onto the outside, spin that bitch off. The inner cartridge does take a little bit of a pull to get it out, so don't be afraid to give a little bit of force. That thing is absolutely gnarly and nasty. Gave it a diesel bath, cleaned up. This is the nasty black oil coming out the forks. Shouldn't be black. I haven't run across any black fork oil. Blue, green, clear. Granted, I use Maxima, so that could be why also. I only use Maxima, but yeah, there's a little bit of metal residue in there from the bushings. There is no sand or anything. The bushings actually ended up really good, but that black stuff dyed the inside. So, bottom tube, undo the bolt. Weak ass battery powered gun can't undo the bolt on the bottom. This bolt is what keeps the forks together. Time for air. This is also one of the click adjusters. This adjusts the shim stack that's on the bottom of the rebound tube. Loosen them, pull them up. In 11/16 or 17 mil on the lock nut. Zip the adjuster off. This is getting new seals, so we're popping the dust seal off. Pop the clip out. Grab hold of the forks. Once you get them all the way apart, pop them a few times. Forks come apart. Unscrew the lock nut off the rebound tube. Drop the rebound tube down through. Get your spacer. Slide your spacer back on the rebound tube. Stick the rebound tube back down into the inner cartridge. Get you a long bar so that you can stick your finger in the hole. Get you a long bar, push the tube down through. It comes out. Now, when you're going 6 inches short, you cut 5 inches off of the spring. Because you're going to take the last inch and you're going to fold it flat. You don't want to have a pointy surface to dig into anything. I like using my TIG torch because I can get the heat in specific areas and I just slowly bend the spring flat. You can do this with a regular torch. Just a matter of getting a little bit cherry and a little bit of pressure, and you got to make sure that the spring stays parallel. If it starts to roll out a little bit, you got to squish it back in or it'll hit the inner tube. Don't want any kind of binding or anything inside the fork. This is one of those tedious spots. Set it on a bench, make sure it stands up flat. This one, try a little bit differently. Add the heat with it on the flat. While yeah, I have shortened a lot of forks, I'm still kind of learning neat little methods on how to make the job a little bit easier. This is the other tube. What I've got in my hand is the actual shim stack on the rebound tube. There's a long D-shaped rod I will be showing you here in a little bit. That D-shaped rod fits down inside, and that adjusts the shim stock from the bottom. Make sure you put the lock nut back on there so that the rebound tube doesn't fall back through. Run it all the way down. That is the D-shaped rod. See how it's got a flat on it? Goes inside, and if it's not right, it stops. Give it a little twist until it pops in the hole. Whoop. Just like that. Never force these things. If they don't go in easily, turn it a little bit, and boop. In the hole it goes. And that's that. Usually best idea to put those in before you put the bottom bolt back in, because they're just going to keep falling out. Those are the factory Honda seals. But on the inner tube, you've got 2 bushings, a spacer, a seal, a lock clip, and a dust seal. Take the first bushing out, just spread it out a little bit with your fingernails, slide it up over the tube, the second bushing, slide it out, take it all off. That ring, when you put the dust seal back on first, you put that ring on, you put it on top. That way it doesn't get in your way later. Your seal. Okay, you work the seals down the shaft. Put everything back together the way you take it apart. Now usually you've got to drive the bushing down in to the fork. Sometimes they slide in place, sometimes they do not. Gently tap the seal in place. Make sure it's down below the recess for the clip. There is a cutaway groove down inside that tube that little clip goes in. Push the clip in place. Drop the dust seal down. All done. Slide the spring in. Initial tube, twist it together. Do not tighten them up. Actually, don't even thread it down to the O-ring. Now you'll see there's a hole inside that tube. That hole lets the oil flow through. I did make a little mistake here. I should have poured most of the fluid down the outer tube instead of sticking it all in that hole. So now I've got to bounce on it and fight with it a little bit to get everything to flow where it needs to. 250 cc's of oil. You bounce on it a little bit, you push the inner part down, all the oil flows to where it needs to go, and you have a done fork. Now for the final stages, you pull the air bleed screw out top. That's the side screw. Bounce on it a couple of times. Put the screw back in. No fluid came out, only air. That's good. Now the center screw is the adjuster. There's 23 clicks. So for a center setting, you go all the way one direction, bring it back 12 clicks, and you're good to go. Bottom, same thing. Go all the way one direction, bring it back halfway, you're set to the middle. You should only need to adjust these 2-3 clicks one way or the other and be done. And 6-inch drop Showa forks. Done, ready to go off to the customer. Have a great day, all. Thanks a lot.